Five things to watch from next week's crucial Fed meeting. Economists are broadly expecting the Federal Reserve to lower its benchmark interest rate next week by a quarter point, the first cut in 10 years. With an easing seemingly a fait accompli, economists are turning their focus to the future. How will Fed Chair? The Federal Open Market Committee, the central bank's interest rate body, will meet next Tuesday and Wednesday. They will release a decision. Investors have been fairly certain about a rate cut since the June meeting. They have priced in all. Over the past month, the yield on the 10-year Treasury note has not moved much at all. It was trading around. Related video weakness in industrial economy could push Fed to cut rates, says Jim Cramer, provided by CNBC. Here are 5 things that economists are watching for when the central bank announces its decision. 1. How large a cut? Most, but not all, economists expect a quarter-point cut. Seth Carpenter, 2. How assured is there? The first paragraph of the Fed's policy statement usually marks to market how the economy has performed over the previous 6 weeks, so it is not usually the most analyzed part of the communication. But at this meeting, 3. How does the Fed frame? Many economists don't think the Fed will pre-commit to another rate cut in September. Tom Simons, Matthew Luzzetti, chief U.S. economist at Deutsche Bank Research, said Powell will frame the cut as insurance against the potential of a more significant downturn. The implication, 4. Any change to balance. Economists seem split about any changes to the central bank's plan to shrink its balance sheet, which has been a form of tightening its post-crisis, ultra-loose policy. That plan is already. 5. Dissent. Fed watchers expect 2 dissents should the committee opt to cut you from Kansas City Fed President Esther George and Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren. Both appear to favor